Or call me Osiris. Okay, we start lah. Okay, welcome to malware analysis topic, which will be covered by me. And this topic is quite heavy, but I'm not going to go through that deep, more towards like reversing or deeper analysis. It's just a surface level of how malware analysis was did. And some disclaimer, this sharing session may include some demonstration using real malware sample. And we will not responsible if there's any damage to system, environment, or data if someone misuse it or do some unethical action related to this session. So beware. Okay, first we will start with what and why. What is the goal while doing a malware analysis is to identify malicious software and understand how it operates, what it does. The key factor, there's two key factors. The goal is to understand itself, the behavior, impact, and how to prevent it in future. And the second one was to analyze such as file, script, document, memory, traffic, and etc. Okay, things to look at. There's so many things that you can actually look at, such as hash file, metadata, string, domain, IP, URL, port, drop files, read and modify files, registry keys, service, schedule task, process, mutex, itu, description key, persistent, credential, screenshot or key logs, and lastly, attack technique. Maybe some of you wasn't familiar with attack technique, but it's actually a TTP. Things more industry use it more compared to the normal person. Some fun fact, treat as what you discover while doing behavior or you doing static analysis as the indicator as the flag itself. The finding are not the flag, but try to act it as a flag for while doing malware analysis. So what's the purpose? Malware analysis is the process of studying or researching a malware to understand its behavior, function, and impact on the system. So here what we can be done after doing analysis for the IR side, we can confirm the attack and collect all the IOC. IOC stands for indicator of compromise. For digital forensic, it's more towards build timeline, validate your evidence. For SOC, to create a better detection and tune your alert. For threat intel part, it's more on understanding the pattern of threat actor, like tracking a campaign and group of malware, specific group, what type of malware or anything. And for security engineer, more towards improved defense. Here are some few types. There's so many types of malware in various forms, each following its own pattern and behavior to deliver the method and impact for the system. This pattern can define how malware act or spread, persistent, communicate, and achieve its target. Here list of few example, common example: virus, worm, trojan, spyware, adware, botnet, rootkit, rat, proper, ransomware, virus, and info stealer. All of this is actually malware. So it's just maybe you need to, some of it got the pattern and some of it like using a combination of malware type. For example, like dropper combined with a rat concept. And lastly, got some ransom concept. At the end, just try to see the impact, how large impact, and then we can conclude that impact as that malware type. For example, like they have a worm concept, rat concept, and then ransomware concept. But the end of it, it's a ransom. So can just conclude it as a ransom type of malware. Okay, here some types of how you can how you approach your analysis based on two main things, which is static and dynamic. Static is more you try to analyze it without running it, like decompile the file and try read any hard-coded string of it. But for dynamic analysis, you try to execute and try to run the malware to observe the behavior itself, what modify file or what read, write, etc. And if there's any network activity that have been communicated, but all of it, some of it achievable by doing static analysis, but some of it can make you like drain when doing static analysis, like almost close as impossible. And that's where you need to do a more towards dynamic analysis just to observe the behavior instead of tirelessly looking at the static analysis. But if you like more on reverse approach, static analysis suits for you. Okay, here it will become nightmare for those who don't have experience with reverse engineering. Worst case is if like virus total is down, you need to do a manual way, or the file cannot be uploaded on the virus total because it is confidential file. And that's where you as an analyst need to use your skill on reverse engineering to reverse it. Sometimes they do have like anti-VM mechanic that if you upload on sandbox, it will not execute and it flag as non-malicious. But when you do manual analysis, you can see it's actually malicious file. So that's a value that as a malware analysis, what stands the most for you while you're doing reverse engineering skills can be seen lah. Here we go through to the VM demo a bit. Oops, I go out. Thing. Okay, where do we start now? First, maybe we can start with some basic sample. You pick random. I pick visit first, and then I can see it's just one thing as LNK. It's just a shortcut file. Can you see actually? I'm not sure if you can see. Then check comment. Okay, here the file, Akusa file that we have extracted from this zip. And then when we try to can open now. When we get this MD5 of the file, then check on why it's so hard. Where's the thing? When we check on VirusAuto, it says it's flagged as malicious, but it's only a shortcut file. It's not a file that can commonly be checked using IDA or such thing. But you can actually just go to properties and then check. They got target files, that how it targets or anything. And also maybe you can, like a common CTF guy, string it and then see they got so many command line here. And it's actually not so common, but some of FPT group use this technique, and it's a lot. So you can decompile it, or you can just save it as file.txt maybe. And then is it? Then after open, you can see the command line lah. It executes something if and I think it's the VBA type. Easy. String exists in CMD, no. String doesn't have in CMD. But if you can install CMD, it was provided by Microsoft itself. You can search. String. Yeah, this one. You can install it and put on your PC. Then it works normally like a string. But if you don't want to use string, you can use cat lah, like a normal. And then if you don't have grep only Linux, you can use find str and then something you need to find, maybe HTTP, something like that. And this is one of the fileless technique, but not actually fileless. It got files, which is shortcut files, but commonly people see it's not an executive file. So maybe it's okay to double click it, but it's actually got some payload embedded inside. So that's one of the way of how they're using a shortcut command. Then another thing can be, let me pick something. Maybe we can pick DMG. DMG is Apple file type. Maybe you can check using file if you on Linux, and then it says it's a compressed file, but there's another way that using the tools, we call it detect it easy, and then just throw it inside. Then you can see it's a some zip file that format using Apple disk image. And what we do is this. It's like open in your archive and then try extract it like a normal. And then when you drop it into here, you can see there's a Mac OS operating system file, this file. And then they have two, which is operate as 8664 and also ARM64. But we can actually extract again using 7-zip. Then we get to see two of the file, this image and ARM. Up to you, which one you want to pick. And then ARM64, it's compiled using Clang. Language is C, C++. Tools, macOS SDK. And the IDE that has been, not IDE, IDE that has been used was Xcode, if you're familiar with Mac operating system. If you a developer, you know lah what Xcode. And then from that, you can start using IDE or anything you want. Sys internal. What is sys internal? What do you mean by sys internal? And what else? APK, maybe you already know what to do. APK depends on your favorite tool, APK tools or JEDEX. Normally I use JEDEX. And normally for mobile malware type, yeah. Hold on. You can also install WSL. Yes, you can. I do have my WSL on my host system. And then for mobile, normally I will not go through that deep, but things that I will do first is checking the Android manifest and then try to see the permission that they trying to use. For example, like read SMS. Why the application need to read SMS and also receive and send SMS. And then they also try to have a read contact and write contact. It has so many things that require permission from here. So you can try make hypothesis that this APK is a bit suspicious because they will try to look all of your sensitive information. They even request set more people. Then what else? You can go through that deep if you love mobile and then try dig deeper. Is it source code? Then try go through. But I don't like APK that much. Okay, that's for APK, and then maybe PowerShell. PowerShell is a very common technique that have been used by many APT. And from here, you can get source code of it. This one is pretty straightforward, source code. Sometimes they do like gibberish, the text, the variable things. Okay, from here you can see they have cipher, and then it have this 64 decoder function. So this thing is base 64. They set into payload byte, and then you can control F and then try to see where this headed to. From here we have payload bytes and also crypto key. Crypto key come from here. Also base64 decryption key coder. This decryption key coder encoded. Okay, this one, that means this is base64, this is base64. So this is the key, this is base64. And also how it operates. They got invoked, and IEX means that it will execute that file. And they got XOR operation that they use. So from here, we can straight away copy this thing. Then is there we get to see base64 from base64, and we need XOR because they use XOR. The text is base64. Then can copy this thing, the key, put it on key, and then you get to see some code that has been executed, and the file will try to compile, create the process, and another base64. They will compile it using .NET framework, and then they got payload that need to be executed, and from that you can maybe start copy this thing and then try decode it. What does it do? Yeah, why it take it so long? And then from here we got base64, and then we can see the MZ. MZ means that the program is execution file. And then to cut short, maybe you can just directly MD5 from here, and then try copy the hash. And then if there's someone upload on VirusTotal, it will make much more easier. Then yeah, we got, it is actually a DLL file. And you can check on details. It was executed, yes, using .NET framework. .NET and then pdbin, blah, 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 blah. The name is mafia.dll, you know. So that's how we do the PowerShell concept. And we go to the next sample. Maybe we can go to this one, rm.exe. And then normally even on CTF, if I receive some exe file, I will not directly just throw it on IDA or .NET framework or etc. I will start with checking, is it? I will try throw it in detect it easy first, and things that I like about this software, it will tells you how it compile. For example, like this file is compiled using Visual C, C++, scan. But the packer is PyInstaller. So if you heard about PyInstaller, it's actually Python packer that will try compress your program into PyC, and then PyC convert it into some kind of closed assembly execution file. It's like instead of normally if you compile the right here, if you compile C programming, it will turns into assembly. But if you similar like this one, it's Python convert into something called PyC that is close to assembly. Then they will turn into exe, which is assembly lah. So to reverse it, you need to unpack it into PyC first. After that, PyC convert into Py. But there's another way that if you want to confirm it, if it's a packet or not, we can check on this button called entropy. This value, it says here that it is a pack file, but if you're familiar with the value, the higher the value, the more encryption or obfuscation method that has been heavily used on this program. That means if you try to string it, here, where's the string? And if you try to string it, cannot apply. It will give you a gibberish text that close to impossible to, like, cannot be static analysis the pack file directly. So you need to try to unpack it first before you reverse it. I think you already know how to reverse Python, but sure lah anyway. Okay, we get to see this thing, and then because it's a Python, we use a tool called PyInstTxt rector. We just call it PyInstructor. And then throw the RM, and then just press enter. Okay, where is it? Scam. Oh, it's because I'm on the previous territory. Okay, this one. So you get to see PyC on here. There's one interest name RM and PyC, is the same name as rm.exe. So from here, you can use multiple tools. Normally, I just use PyCDC, and then RM PyC, kernel scan, and compile.exe, RM PyC, kernel scan lagi. Or just use bilingual online lah. Where is it? Okay, normally I just roll this thing, and then they will no network. Kena scan tu. Apa tu? What else do I have? Bilingual? Do I have bilingual? No. Nah, never mind lah. I think you get the idea lah how to do command on CTF. And then Okay, the next thing we can get into, maybe we can go to this exe and then check. Oh, no wonder cannot. Where is this tools again? And then throw it again. This time it says got .NET framework and it also not packed. So we can see if it was not heavily packed, that it means that the file is readable using the compiler directly. You don't need to unpack it from the packer. So from here, we can see it's a .NET framework. If it's .NET framework, we know it is a DNSpy. But before that, the architecture says it is 32-bit i386. So we need to use 32 bits. And then we directly throw it in here. Then we can see the source code of it already from here, and then see what do we have here. We get to see a key, decrypt something, 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 something. Then just collect everything you can from here. Got to see a file scanner, this thing, we got the B64, I think. IP, ID, BSH, and the key. Got the pipeline and then got the thread, sleep thread, seen before, local avatar index. Yeah, don't, okay. That is for the NSpy, directly the NSpy. And then for this one, solid. This one, it is also the NSpy, but it says dot protection obfuscation method. And then when we try to check the entropy, will tell us that this file is packed. So we cannot directly, let's say for example, it's a say for example, just all, I throw this thing on the NSpy, then it will give you some gibberish thing that me myself cannot understand. What is this? What is this? What is this? But this one got few text. So from here, I don't think they mention it. But this file is actually a d4 dot and then solid bit. Then d4 dot is to unpack the file. If you're familiar with USP, UPX, if you know C using UPX, some of it using UPX, it's a pack. Try to compress it into smaller exe. But for this one, if you using .NET framework or can say C# program, you need to use tools like, for example, d4 dot to pack it and make it try to compress the file into more file saving, smaller size. Okay, after it's already unpacked, then we try to throw the clean version. They don't have. We got to use d4 dot the obfuscator. Then from here, we can throw again this thing. Can I remove this thing? Okay, see the difference? This one is unknown text, and then this one is more readable text. Then after you go through inside the file, we get to see, we got something from here. And maybe it is a base 64, who knows? But I think it's RSA because previously I already can see they got RSA something. And then we can go through and collect all thing that we want from here. Okay, we can see it says something like liquid sample. So from here, we already know it's, yeah, it's a ransomware. So can confirm lah. Not to confirm, but it one of the indicator that we already collected. Oh, we got to see URL. So maybe it's one of IOC. Got torrent. And then more things. Then that's a thing that we can collect from previous slide that have been shown before. From here, why they change something like that? From here, we got URL, we got domain, we got to see there's a, what else? Only that lah. Okay, that's for the common things for .NET framework. Then we can go through for other type of files, for example, like document. If you try open document, we got some text, but on here, if you notice, it says macros have been disabled. So we know that this document got a macro. Sorry for not activate it. Those words. So like your normal CTF day routine, only VBA, and then student report document. And after that, yeah, we got to see some text, some macros that have been implanted in this document. From the top, you got to see they have startup info, private type, they declare the class in private, and then we get to see auto open, yada 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 yada. We got to see array, then we can decode it. But to decode it, it takes a bit extra step. But it's okay. I already make a script for it. Okay, same thing. I extract the array, and then we got the byte to array, and then extract it as .bin. It doesn't mean it's a shellcode.bin, but can be anything. But for this example, I just use shellbin.exe. And okay. Then from here, can Python. What is the name of the file again? Student report decode. And then I already extract the bin file. And then normally if you got to see .bin file, shellcode bin file, sometimes it wasn't that readable, and then we don't know what to do with the bin. But there's a one tools that we call it scdbg that we can throw any bin here, and then launch it. After that, we got to see they use MSVCRT, and then here we got to see they use API called okay. Got to see here that they try to load library WinNet, and then there's a internet open A, and then they got the IP and also the ports that try to connect A. So that means the document is have some connection or C2 connection that connect to this IP and port. What's the question? What's your method to find suspicious thing in the Inspire eyeball for each code? Yes and no. My way of my cheat sheet style, how I perform reverse engineering is don't be like me. First, where is it? Solid, okay, and define some of this file. And then I copy this IP, I go to virus total because this thing is MVP. Okay, how I did the operation is I go to behavior. I reverse the reverse engineering. Okay, first I collect all TCP if there's any TCP, and then try to see what file they open. If there's any drop file, I get to see restore my file, and then after that, I try to go back to the DNSpy and then check if there's anything that related to restore my file, and if got, then I can validate it exists from that exe file. Then what else can we go through? Maybe if they got registry key that has been embedded, like for example, try to see other things. This one, shell command is a command execution from the file. They create a mini PPID from a PID that drop this command line, and then from that command line, I go through back to the DNSpy and then check if this thing exists in the code file. Then I will collect all, try correlate between two things from your DNSpy and validate using virus total. That's how I find the suspicious thing. So that's kind of cheating way. But let's say if this wasn't anything like that on virus total, I will try do it manually instead of double check on virus total. But using this method can somewhat build your threat intel knowledge and also malware analysis knowledge. Can say something like that. Okay, continue back. Okay, this is how you analyze the bin. Other things is this file is like 2008 concept. Oops. Okay. Oops. Okay, as an old person, usually you will see .exe file, right? But did you know the old file wasn't used in exe? They use s.com. It's a Microsoft DOS application. So normally people just know mz file something and then the file end with .exe, but less little know that it is all one use.com. And then from here, well, when I throw to the easy, we can see the operating system that compile this thing is Windows 65. So it's an old concept. Even the language also ASM, not in C or C++. Okay, check. It's a notepad file. Then if you want to use string, up to you. You can check here, string, blah, 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 blah. Okay, from here, you can see they got the registry that has been set on the Explorer shell folder. You see here, we got to see one of our things to look at is registry key also got, and then it will something thumbs.db, and then blah 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 also got to see HT local Microsoft, and then there's some notes that says something 2007 Surabaya in my birthday, don't kill me, I'm just send my message from your computer, terima kasih telah blah 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 blah. Okay, blah 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 blah, and then we scroll a bit, we get to see auto execute.bat. It's an old technique that have add echo off, and then they will pop up something like this, something like this. So we got to see it is something that shows will execute this text without understanding, without our understanding, and then that's the come part when you need the compiler things to double check what does it do. Apa ni? No. Santai lah first time buka. Then we open this tambah. Faster. What's this? Okay, I don't know how to use all.com file directly. That's all. Can I just, my bad. Okay, I just go through and then click. If you start on IDA, let's say you got to see so many function call on the left, you can use tools like CFF Explorer, and then just throw it in here, and then go to, where is it now? I keep forgetting. Seems like I forgot where to find the address. Plus entry. Okay, here. You get to see the value address of entry point is 11.0C. Then from that, can go back to our IDA and then try to find anything that says, or instead of 11.0C. Okay, from here, public stack. Okay. And that means this file cannot see the public stack of the file. Here, no. Because it's an ancient file. But for the other file, you do like that lah. And then what else you want to see from here? Oh, I got question before this session even start. Someone asking me how malware evade mechanism defenders mechanism, something like that lah. And then we call it anti-VM. For example, like if where's my IDE? This one I need to show using dynamic analysis. Okay, S5. Cannot. Cannot. Anti-VM. Okay, from here, go to main, and then we get to see why it cannot. Please refer manual. You know why? Is it because anti-VM? Might be. And then, no. Okay lah, never mind lah. I use another method. 11 KB. Another of my cheat sheet is the file is small. I use online decompiler. And then if you use Dropbox, it should be less below 2 MB. But checking the file is only 11 KB, so you can throw it on here. And then they got multiple Angular, binary Ninja, Hydra, X-ray, and then blah blah blah. We can see in here got main, foreground, Windows, and then there's a function call that suddenly send this text, notepad, blah 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 blah. Then from that we can Control F and then go to that function call. What is it? This one. Okay, and then see. For example, the first one it sends the character notepad into this first what do we call it? Parameter. We call it send to this first parameter as an object. And then in here, you got to see there's two health 32 snapshot and then blah, 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 blah. They got terminate process. And we also close the handle. Then from that, we know that it is an anti-VM mechanism. From here, we also get to see VM service and then VM tool SD. This is just an example, but if in real life cases, they use multiple way. Maybe they put something that checking if it's was a sandbox name, for example, like any run, they will not execute it. So sandbox treat it as a non-malicious file because it wasn't execute the next step that they want to do. But as an analyzer, how you want to defeat it, there's only one way, we call it dynamic analysis. Is it TVM? And then we throw again and says it is 64. So it's 64. We need a 64 DBG. Okay, from here we can load TVM. Where is it? This one. Okay, for this sample, the first one is notepad, right? So if we go to notepad, then we will try to see if this thing will Okay, press run first. If the notepad is closed, that means the anti-VM is working because it says on here. Where is it again? On this one. Yeah, the first one notepad, and then you will terminate the first program, which is notepad itself. So from there, we can try to bypass the condition here and then directly jump to the next one until the end. From here, we need to jump into this one. It says 1000. Can I use other thing? Okay, pressing Ctrl J, and then from here just change it to 1000 and okay. Can I enlarge it? Eh, is it this one? Try to click. Okay, we got to see here, and then on here we got to see. Sorry, we got to see we got notepad.exe, but we need to find the things that have. I think this one should be one B. Should be this one. I'll use cutter lah. Where's my cutter? What's this? Where's my cutter? Oh, and then from here continue kantor first time. Okay, click this one. Go to main, then E10. Okay, this one, you can see they got terminate process, and then we need to bypass this jump into something else, jump not zero, by using the zero flag concept. Okay. Again, we look at this. It's a 108B. And then from here, 108B, we can set breakpoint here. And then just run it until here. Okay, put notepad on the left. At here, it says notepad. And then the zero flag is 0. And then what if we put 1 here? Then try execute it again. This one, try execute again. It will say the next is IDA. But so the notepad is still there, wasn't even closed. That means our bypassing anti-analysis works. You get it? No. Think. Okay, lah, we run again. Until here, let's say in here, zero flag is 0. And then if I click play again next, try look at the notepad. It closed, right? Because it closed and the IDA was the next step. That means we just normally execute. It will, where's the cutter again? It will pass on here, AB, as a normal jump execution, but we need to change it into jump not 0. Is it jump not 0 or jump 0? Sorry, I forgot assembly. But that's the idea. You just send a 1, 0 flag to bypass if else concept. So it's either true or false. So again, we can open back our notepad. Oh, also on here it say IDA. If I don't click zero flag, I think this IDA will stop. To double confirm it, we run again. Yeah, it stops. But still, why this thing wasn't stopped? They close only one. Maybe need another run. Yeah, it's totally stopped. But what if we, oh, okay, this one we see XDVG also in there. What if I run it? I think this XDVG will be closed. Yeah, that means that's how anti-VM works. So you need to bypass the anti-VM stuff using zero flag. Okay, from here, refresh back. Not refresh. Let's throw in first anti-VM. Anti-VM. Okay. The breakpoint still exists. Okay. On here, okay, first it's not bad. And then if I directly put the zero there. Okay, before that, we get to see many calls some function with this string that have been passed that need to be parsed. The same thing as what this one. Same thing as this one. You have this. So our goal is to maybe stop on here after VM tools. And from that, by logic should be below here, foreground. Yes, it's here. So we can set breakpoint here. Then from here, not bad. We put one and then run. Okay, seems okay. And then this one is anti XDVG. Again, put one, run again. The next thing is CFF Explorer. Again, put one. Let me check. Yeah, bypass. And then CMD. We put one again. One again. This one is VM. So if I just leave it here at zero, my VM will be will be gone. And I put one. Then we service again one. VM tools one. What's the mini one? Okay, we start right here, foreground windows. That means we bypass all the anti-VM mechanism, start from top until bottom. And then we stop at here. And then from there, you can just remove this and then execute and see what happened. But the file doesn't show anything because it is invented that way. So I think let's come to the conclusion part. Again, from here, okay. Normal, say thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Is there any question from you want to ask?